Now, another mistake, if you will. So this is an example from Prometheus, right, which obviously tells us the different modes of a CPU usage. And there are many of them here, right? I mean, you can see, like, I remember it used to be like user system and kind of idle, right? You would be thinking about 3 of them. So which of them really correspond to the CPU being used here, right? Your CPU is actually being used. I have seen a lot of kind of graphs recommendation on the internet and saying, oh, let's run a query and everything which is not idle is CPU used, right? Which is not really the case, because of at least 2 important misconceptions. First is I/O wait. I/O wait is idle. From CPU standpoint, the CPU is idle when it's in kind of I/O wait state. Yes, it was decided for convenience to add another state for that, idle when there is no disk I/O going on, and idle when there is disk I/O going on, right? But from CPU standpoint, if you have a system which shows 99 CPU in I/O wait state, it's not CPU bottleneck, right? It's I/O bottleneck. The second thing which I often see misconsidered is steal, right? In VM environments and some cloud environments, that corresponds with CPU which is not really used by your application on anything you are doing if you're in your box, but neighbors, VM, right, wherever, your cloud provider putting you on a diet, right, or whatever other things, but it needs to be understood and measured separately. Now, with the modern CPUs, there is even more fun when it comes to understanding CPU performance and understanding, right? So, for example, modern CPUs change frequency of a load, right? Sometimes it might be as much as 5x, right? That means if you have a very idle system, one CPU usage at 800 megahertz, right, is very different than the same kind of 1% and 5 gigahertz, right, or 4 gigahertz, whatever it can burst to, right? Also, peak core frequency which the system can provide depends on the load, on particular load you're running on the core, right, and also on number of cores used, right? And not to mention what there are, virtual cores are not the same in terms of real cores. Now, in this case, from a utilization standpoint, if your CPU is close to saturation, you will see that wherever you want. But it is important to understanding the capacity planning, right? Because if you know your application is kind of scales, semi-linearly in the workload, and you can see, oh, I see my CPU use only 5%, so I can, probably get at least 20x from my application. That may not be the case because of all that kind of complicated math which is going into how CPU scale those days. Okay, disk.